All right, I'm taping this on a Friday. What I want to make sure is everyone is aware of what's going on with the storm system we've got Tuesday and Wednesday. There's so much misinformation. There's so much focus on a lot of other meteorologists and some not meteorologists from across the country discussing things that just quite aren't true. We're not going to see a super outbreak of severe weather. There's nothing like this as what we're going to see like April 27th. So I want to make sure that we're very clear on that. This is a typical storm system for this time of year. Now, having said that, what I don't want to get lost in this whole talk, a lot of people get so focused on tornadoes that the high wind threat we have coming may be more significant than any tornadoes that develop. So I want to make sure everyone's aware of that. Here's our outlook area. Now, this is going to include roughly after 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock Tuesday evening. There's still plenty of time for things to change, but the trend here is for about a 10, 11 o'clock arrival along the state line with Mississippi, for this to track to the east, produce a lot of rain, embedded tornadoes, those spin-up type 5-minute tornadoes, the EF0, EF1, may see a few of those, but a majority of us will be dealing with this wind that's going to be increasing throughout the day, even ahead of any rain. And some of these wind gusts could exceed 70 miles per hour as the line of storms moves through. We're going to go through this in great detail, going to break this out for you, show you what's happening at the surface and then what we call the low-level jet stream. This is a very, very strong storm system. The pressure is going to be dropping fairly rapidly. We're going to have a lot more aches and pains than we normally do, like arthritis and migraines, as the pressure drops rapidly. And then right after the line moves through, the pressure is going to increase rapidly. The one thing this storm system is really lacking, which a lot of them do in February and early March, is instability. If this was coming in April, it would be a whole different story the way it's looking now. Not that that won't change, but again, I just want to stress the wind in this system is going to be something we're going to have to deal with. This is 5 o'clock Tuesday. Temperatures around 70 degrees. Here comes the line of storms, probably making its way across the state line somewhere between, I would say, 10 o'clock and midnight, and then continuing to the east. Yes, this is another overnight storm threat coming in, so make sure you're ready for that. As we continue on towards 3 o'clock in the morning, notice we've got a large area of rain. Typically, when we get severe weather, there's a real narrow band of rain. Now, I think one of the main reasons it's showing such a large mass of rain here is because it's not a high-resolution model. We're waiting for the high-resolution model to come in. Meteorologist Chelsea Aaron will be in over the weekend, and she'll be able to update you on that as we do our Weather Extra here on YouTube and all our other social media. But we'll be able to see those coming into range. Now, a lot of you are wondering what's it going to be like in my town and what time. We'll put the timeline together over the weekend as well. It's really hard to put a timeline. I don't want to put one out there that keeps changing because I know how social media works. I'm still seeing snow forecast graphics from January in my news feed. As we go on towards 6 o'clock in the morning Wednesday, I think the storms will be on the way out, if not already gone, but it's the backside of this that we're starting to watch now that we're going to see some really strong winds, perhaps 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts behind the front. That's why we've gone with the first alert weather day now for Wednesday too. And that and the fact that some of this will still be going on around officially early 1 to 3 a.m. Wednesday morning. So that's going to move out. The winds won't die down until about 10 o'clock Wednesday night. And it's not really cooling down all that much. So we don't have a real rapid drop in temperatures with this storm system. And there's another one coming in behind this one, likely Friday or Saturday of next week. Now this graphic, I post this online sometimes and it gets confusing because people think that this is the wind gusts at the surface, but I clearly put this is 4,000 to 5,000 feet above the ground. And the reason this is critical is as you get this line of storms moving through, very heavy rain could fall in that. As the heavy rain falls, some of that wind gets ducted down to the surface, and that's how you get these wind gusts of 70, maybe 80 miles per hour. So that's the big threat here is these wind gusts. I think the wind is going to affect a lot more people than tornadoes, although if we get some tornadoes, we're talking 100, maybe 115 mile an hour wind over a very short area. Again, more people will likely see power outages due to this. By 6 o'clock, again, the wind starting to pick up. You see 65, the arrow represents the direction. So it's coming in from the south. Notice how much more intense the wind gets ahead of the line of thunderstorms, or within the line. We're seeing some of these 80 to 90 mile an hour wind gusts coming in from the south. Again, this is a sustained wind too, so it's a constant. That's why we call it a jet, because it is cruising as it comes in from the south. It's also feeding in some instability. It can occasionally, and it keeps the temperatures a little on the warmer side. Notice here as it's crossing the state line, roughly around 11 p.m. to midnight, we've got these 89 to 90 mile per hour, 94 mile per hour, where you have the blue here. So this is some really intense wind, and when we see this, it's a red flag for damaging winds, and you get line breaks, and this creates potential for these spin-up tornadoes in these areas where you get this extremely high wind coming in to play, where you get the breaks in the line. So we'll have to watch this line closely as it moves through. Settles down a little bit, but we're still seeing some of those winds around 70 miles per hour or so. And then as we continue on, I'm going to show you the surface winds here, and that's going to be the next graphic. But things kind of quiet down here around 3 or 4 in the morning as this all shifts to the east into Georgia. Now, these are the potential wind gusts at the surface. This is what we will feel without the storms. So these are the gradient force winds that will be increasing rapidly. This is going to be like a tropical storm coming through. That's probably the best way to analyze this and get across that information. These are wind gusts area-wide, 40 to 50 miles per hour. So we will likely see a wind advisory. We may see that upgraded to a high wind warning at some point as well. So those are things we'll be watching. And as we continue on past midnight, notice how this lines up underneath those higher winds I just showed you. We've got wind gusts close to 60 miles per hour here in Falkville, 51 miles an hour in Decatur, 50. So these are going to do damage if these are realized, if we see these winds, especially after all of that heavy rain that's coming through as well. These winds will die down, but look what happens as we go past 5 o'clock in the morning Wednesday. The back side of the storm system starts moving through, and these are wind gusts with some sunshine out there and no rain at all, on the order of 45 to 55 miles per hour. And that could create this high wind warning as well, especially for high-profile vehicles and some more trees and limbs down and things like that. So, again, I want to make you aware of that. Here's your 10-day forecast. Again, first alert weather days now extended Tuesday into Wednesday. Mainly wind, but we will likely see a tornado watch at some point late Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, just because of the fact there's so much wind shear. Nice weekend ahead, although it's going to get a lot colder as we get late in the day Saturday, 29 for the low Sunday, and then Friday into Saturday. We're watching that storm system. Looks like some gusty winds with it, some heavy rain, a few thunderstorms, but right now that one's probably going to be lacking instability. So again, we'll watch that. Just want to make sure everyone's up to date and on expectations, because there's so much going around on social media. We'll keep you up to date on this here on YouTube, all of our social media pages, and our WFF 48 First Alert Weather app.